Hi, I am Sevaya, lecturer in physics, working in Vignan institutions. In this session, I am going to explain the current carrying coil as magnetic dipole. Okay? The contents of the today's video session are field produced by the electric dipole, field produced by the magnetic dipole, field produced by the current carrying coil. From that we are going to conclude the dipole moment of the current carrying coil. After that we are going to solve some problems. Okay? Now first come to the electric dipole. So in the lesson electric charges and fields, we studied about the electric dipole, whereas in the lesson magnetism and matter, we studied about the magnetic dipole. Now in this lesson, in the previous session, I explained the magnetic field produced by the current carrying coil. Is there any similarity between the magnetic dipole and the current carrying coil? That similarity is going to be studied. For that purpose, I am going to explain the electric dipole as well as the magnetic dipole. First, what is meant by electric dipole? So, two equal and opposite charges, minus q and plus q, separated by some distance, is called as electric dipole. Here the two charges minus q and plus q are placed at points A and B. Okay? The distance between the two charges is called as the length of the dipole. Let it be 2L. Let the dipole moment of the dipole P is equal to magnitude of the one of the charges into the length of the dipole, that is called as the electric dipole moment. Okay? Let O is the center of the dipole. Now, let us draw a line joining the two charges, that is called as the axial line of the electric dipole. Let us consider a point P on the axial line. We want to determine the electric field intensity at that point P. Let D is the distance of the point P from the center of the dipole. Okay? Now, the intensity of the electric field at a point on the axis of the dipole is given by EP is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught 2PD divided by D square minus L square whole square. So, it was derived in the unit charges and fields. Okay? Now, if suppose we see the direction of the electric field on the axial line, it is directed from the minus charge to the positive charge along this direction. So, this is about the electric dipole. Okay? Now, come to the magnetic dipole. Here, magnetic dipole is nothing but a simple bar magnet which consists of the two poles of equal strength and opposite poles. Okay? Now, let it be the magnetic dipole which consists south pole and north pole. Let 2L is the length of the magnet. The magnetic dipole moment of the magnet is capital M. Okay? Now, let us draw a line joining the south pole and north pole, which is called as the axial line of the magnet. Now, let us consider a point P on the axial line. Okay? Let the point P is at a distance D from the center of the magnetic dipole. At this point P on the axial line, the magnetic induction is given by BP is equal to mu naught by 4 pi 2md divided by d square minus L square whole square. Okay? Now, what is the direction of the magnetic field? The direction of the magnetic field is directed from the south pole to the north pole on the axial line. If suppose you see the direction of the magnetic field this side, it is also directed from the south pole to the north pole like this. That's why this equation gives the magnitude of the magnetic induction at a point on the axial line, and that is directed from the south pole to the north pole like this, either right side or the left side of the magnetic dipole. If suppose this point P is far away from the center of the dipole, then what happen? If the point P is far away from the center of the dipole, then what happen? Far away means this distance d is very greater than the length of the magnet. In this case, what happens? If d is very greater than L, then d square is also very greater than L square. So one is larger value, one is smaller value. The smaller value can be neglected either in the addition or in the subtraction process. That's why this L square can be neglected. By neglecting that L square, the equation can be written as Bp is equal to mu naught by 4 pi 2md divided by d square whole square. So here d square whole square means d to the power of 4. So d cancels and this equation becomes Bp is equal to mu naught by 4 pi 2m by d cube. In that equation, m is the magnetic dipole moment, d is the distance of the point on the axial line from the center of the dipole. So you keep this point in mind, and the direction of the magnetic field is directed from the south pole to the north pole as shown in the figure. Right? Now come to the current carrying coil. Suppose we have a current carrying coil in which a current I is passing through the coil in the anti-clockwise direction. Okay? Let O is the center and R is the radius of the coil. Okay? Let us join a line which is passing through the center and perpendicular to the plane of the coil. This line is called as the axis of the coil. Now, consider a point P on the axis of the coil. Okay? Now, let us assume that x is the distance of the point P from the center of the coil. Okay? Let us assume that this coil has n number of the turns. Okay? Now, this current carrying coil produces at any point on the axis of the dipole, which was derived in the previous session as Bp is equal to mu naught n I r square divided by 2 into r square plus x square whole power 3 by 2. And the direction of the magnetic field produced by the coil is directed away from the coil when we see on the right side of the coil, and it is directed towards the coil when we see the left side of the coil. That's why by using this equation we can determine the strength of the magnetic field, and by this we can observe the direction of the magnetic field produced by the coil. Okay? If suppose this point P is far away from the center of the coil, then what happens? Far away means the distance of the point x is very greater than the radius of the coil. In this case, x square is also very greater than r square. So one is the larger value, one is the smaller value. So the smaller value can be neglected either in the addition or in the subtraction process. So by neglecting this r square value in this equation, this can be written as Bp is equal to mu naught Ni R square divided by 2 into x square whole power 3 by 2. So this by 2 and 2 are cancelled, and this equation can be written as Bp is equal to mu naught Ni R square divided by 2x cube. So this is the field produced by the coil at a distance far away from the center of the coil. For the sake of the convenience, let us multiply this one and divide this one with 2 pi. Now, by rearranging the terms, the equation can be written as Bp is equal to mu naught by 4 pi. This 2 into 2 pi is equal to 4 pi. Mu naught by 4 pi into 2 Ni pi R square divided by x cube. Here already we know the R is the radius of the coil. If R is the radius of the circular coil, then what is its area of the cross section? The area of the cross section is equal to pi R square. Now by substituting pi R square is equal to the area of the cross section, this equation can be written as Bp is equal to mu naught by 4 pi into 2 Nia divided by x cube. In this equation, what A stands for? A is the area of the cross section of the coil. Okay, here first we studied the magnetic induction at a point P on the axis of the coil. After that, if the distance is far away, how the equation is modified, that is studied. After that, we obtain the equation for the magnetic induction in terms of the area of the coil. Okay, this is the magnetic field produced by the coil. Now, we studied the electric dipole, it produces the magnetic field. We studied the magnetic dipole, it produces the magnetic field, and also we studied the current carrying circular coil, it also produces the magnetic field. That's why there may be a similarity between the magnetic dipole and the current carrying coil. Why? Because both are producing the magnetic fields. Now, I am going to check the similarity between the magnetic dipole and the current carrying coil. For that, let us say the situation, this is the magnetic dipole, these are the magnetic lines of force. We know that the magnetic field is directed away from the north pole and it is directed towards the south pole, and at any point on the axis, the magnetic field is directed from the south pole to the north pole, as shown in the diagram. And the magnitude of the magnetic field is given by Bp is equal to mu naught by 4 pi 2m by d cube. Similarly, let us see the current carrying circular coil. This is our current carrying circular coil which is carrying current in the anti-clockwise direction. The magnetic field produced by the coil is Bp is equal to mu naught by 4 pi 2Nia divided by x cube, and the magnetic field is directed away from the coil towards the right side and it is directed towards the coil when we see the left side of the coil. Now, let us see these two diagrams. Is there any similarity? It is producing the magnetic field. It is producing the magnetic field. Here the lines of force are coming out from the north pole. Here the lines of force are coming out from this face. Whereas here the lines of force are entering into the south pole and the lines of force are entering into this face. That means in case of the current carrying coil also, the lines of force are coming out from the one face and the lines of force are entering into the another face. That's why the current carrying coil also behaves like a magnetic dipole. The behavior of this current carrying coil is also similar to the magnetic dipole. See, physically there are two poles in the bar magnet, whereas in case of our coil the two faces of the coil are acting as the two poles. So if one pole is acting as the north pole, if one face is acting as the north pole, the other face is acting as the south pole, and the two faces of the coil are acting as the two poles of a Bohr magnet, so that the current carrying coil also behaves as a magnetic dipole. And to get the similarity, this equation is modified as Bp is equal to mu naught by 4 pi 2m divided by x cube. This is for the coil and this is for the magnet. So both are in the similar way. In the place of mu naught by 4 pi, here also we have mu naught by 4 pi. So in the place of 2, here we have 2. In the place of the cube of the distance, here also we have the cube of the distance, whereas in the case of the magnet there is the magnetic dipole moment m in the numerator, whereas in case of the coil, in the place of the dipole moment, we have a term NIA in the equation. Okay, that's why the current carrying circular coil also behaves like a magnetic dipole whose magnetic moment is given by the formula NIA by comparing these two equations. Okay, now by comparing we have the magnetic moment of the coil N is equal to NIA. Here what is N? N is the number of the turns and I is the current passing through the coil and A is the area of the face of the coil, right? So the current carrying coil, it may be having one turn, it is behaving like a magnetic dipole. One face is acting as the north pole and other face is acting as the south pole. Which is acting as north pole, which is acting as the south pole, that is decided by the direction of the current. Okay? When the current is passing in the anti-clockwise direction, this face is acting as the north pole and this face is acting as the south pole. To get clarity, I am going to explain in another way, see that way. Here, there is a current carrying coil which is carrying the current in the anti-clockwise direction. Already we studied that whenever the current is passing through the coil in the anti-clockwise direction, through one face the magnetic lines of force are coming, through the other face the magnetic lines of force are entering. Here, already I explained the way of determination of the direction of the magnetic field in the previous sessions. If suppose you keep the curling fingers in the direction of the current, then the thumb finger indicates the direction of the magnetic field, which I was explained when we were studying the magnetic field due to a current carrying coil. Now, let us keep your fingers, let us keep your curling fingers in the direction of the current, then the thumb finger indicates the direction of the magnetic field which is coming out of the board. So, we know that the magnetic lines of force are coming out from the north pole, that's why the face towards us is behaving as a north pole like this, whereas the backside of the coil is behaving as a south pole. Okay? In case of the coil carrying the current in the anti-clockwise direction, the face towards us is behaving as a north pole and the behind face is acting as south pole. If suppose we consider the current carrying coil in which the current is carrying in the clockwise direction like this, then what happens? Then what happens? In this case, again use the same formula to determine the direction of the magnetic field. So keep the curling fingers in the direction of the current like this, and the thumb indicates the direction of the magnetic field. Here the thumb is into the board, that's why the magnetic field is also into the board. We know that the magnetic field lines are entering into the south pole of the magnet, that's why this one is behaving as the south pole and the backside face is acting as the north pole. That's why by seeing the direction of the magnetic field, we can decide which face is acting as south pole, which face is acting as north pole. Remember, the Phase in which the field is entering is acting as the south pole. The phase in which the field is coming out is acting as north pole. Right? Now, for these circular coils, we derive the equation for the magnetic moment. That magnetic moment M is equal to NIA. When we are studying the other topics, the shapes of, when we come across the lesson, we may get the loops with other shapes also, like square shape, rectangular shape, triangular shape, etc., etc. In such cases, what we have to do? Remember, here we derive the formula for the circular coil. The same formula can also be valid for any shape of the coil, whether the shape of the coil may be rectangular shape, square shape, or triangle shape. For any shape of the coil, we can use this formula. Okay? For any shape, we can use this formula to determine the magnetic moment of the coil. Right? Sometimes, instead of passing the current in a wire in the circle shape, the charges may be moving in the circular path like this. See here, specifically there is wire, and the wire is bent in the form of the circle, and the current is passing through the circular coil. Whereas here, there is no wire, and there is a charge which is moving in a circular path. Is there any similarity between these two? Already in the lesson current electricity, we studied that the revolving electron also constitutes some current, and the current equivalent is given by I is equal to Q by T. Here, Q is the charge of the rotating particle and T is the time period of the rotation of the particle. It gives the current equivalent of the particle revolving in the circular path. Sometimes without giving the time period, the frequency of the rotation may be given. In that case, we can write this one as I is equal to Q into N. Here N is the frequency. Why? Because the reciprocal of the time period is equal to the frequency. We use this formula to determine the current equivalent of the rotating charge. If once we know the current equivalent of the rotating charge, the magnetic moment value can be determined by the formula M is equal to IA. Why? Because here there is no coil, there are no turns for the coil, so simply we consider the number of the turns in the coil is equal to 1, and we can write down the equation as M is equal to IA. Okay? So, the current carrying coil behaves as a magnetic dipole, and the revolving charge also behaves like a magnetic dipole, whose dipole moment is given by, here for circular coil M is equal to NIA, for rotating charge M is equal to IA. I think you follow the concepts explained by me. Now, I am going to explain some problems for the understandings of the concepts what I have taught in the present session. Come to the problems. See the first problem. A 100-ton closely wound circular coil of radius 10 centimeter carries a current of 3.2 amperes. What is the magnetic moment of this coil? Here, the coil has 100 tons and it has radius of 10 centimeters. That's why the radius of the coil R is equal to 10 centimeters, which is equal to 0.1 meters, and it carries a current of 3.2 amperes. Now we want to find out the dipole moment of the circular coil. Already we know that the dipole moment of the circular coil M is equal to NIA. Here A is the area of the face of the coil. Because the coil is in the form of the circle shape, the area of the face of the coil A is equal to pi r square. So that we can write it as M is equal to NI pi r square. Now substitute the given values, it becomes 100 into 3.2 into 3.14 into 0.1 whole square. Okay, by solving this we get it as 10.048 ampere meter square, which is nearly equal to 10 ampere meter square. Okay, here the radius of the coil is given. Using that I obtain the area of the face of the coil. From that the magnetic moment value is obtained. Right? Now come to the next problem. Find the magnetic dipole moment of an electron revolves with a constant speed v in a circular path of radius r. See here, the electron is moving in a circular path of radius r with a velocity v. Here what is the charge of the electron? The charge of the electron q is equal to E. And what is the velocity of the electron? V. What is the radius of the electron? The radius of the circular path is given by r. Now, by knowing the velocity and the radius, can we determine the time period of the rotation? Yes. The time period of the rotation is defined as the time taken to complete one round. Here, the time taken to complete one round is nothing but the distance traveled for one round divided by the speed of the particle. Here, the distance traveled for one round is equal to the circumference of the circle, that is equal to 2 pi r divided by velocity v. Let it be equation number 1. Now here first I calculate the time period of the rotation of the electron. Already we studied that the revolving electron constitutes some current, and that current equivalent of the electron is given by I is equal to Q by T. This is equal to E by T. By substituting this time period T value, we have I is equal to E divided by 2 pi r divided by V, that is equal to EV divided by 2 pi r. Let it be equation number 2. Okay, in the first step I obtain the time period of the electron. After that I obtain the expression for the current equivalent of the electron. Now by knowing the current equivalent of the electron, the magnetic moment of the revolving electron can be determined by the formula M is equal to IA. Here I is equal to EV divided by 2 pi r into A is the area of the circle described by the electron, which is equal to pi r square. Here pi gets cancelled and r gets cancelled, and finally we have M is equal to EVR divided by 2. Okay? Come to the next model. A square loop is carrying a steady current I and the magnitude of its magnetic dipole moment is M. If the square loop is changed to a circular loop and it carries the same current, the magnitude of the magnetic dipole moment of the circular loop will be dash. Here, first of all, we have a wire. that wire is bent into the form of the square loop, then it bent into the form of the circular loop. Let L is the length of the wire and it carries a current I. In the first case, let it be the square loop carrying a current I. Let A is the side of the square loop. Now, by knowing the side of the square loop and the current passing through the coil, can we determine the dipole moment of the circular coil? Yes. So, for circular coil, for the square coil, the dipole moment is given by M1 is equal to IA, this is equal to I times, what is the area of the square? The area of the square is equal to side square, that is equal to I small a square. Let it be equation number 1. Now, this square coil is modified as a circular coil like this, whose radius is equal to R. Now, for the circular coil, first of all, let us calculate the radius of the coil. Already we know that the length of the wire used for the square coil is equal to the length of the wire used for the circular coil. That's why we can write it as the perimeter of the square 4A is equal to the circumference of the circle 2 pi r. From this we can write the radius of the circular coil r is equal to 2A divided by pi. Let it be equation number 2. Now, using that radius, we can determine the magnetic moment of the circular coil. For circular coil, the magnetic moment is given by M2 is equal to IA, this is equal to I times pi r square. Now, substitute this r value in this equation, it becomes I pi 2A by pi whole square. So, after squaring, pi gets cancelled and we have M2 is equal to I 4A square divided by pi. Okay? Here, already we know that this IA square is nothing but the magnetic moment of the square coil. By substituting IA square is equal to M1, we have M2 is equal to 4M1 divided by pi. Okay? Come to the next problem. The dipole moment of a circular loop carrying a current I is M, and the magnetic field at the center of the loop is B1. When the dipole moment is doubled by keeping the current constant, the magnetic field at the center of the loop is B2. Then the ratio of B1 by B2 is dash. See here, a circular coil is given for us. Let R is the radius of the circular coil and M is the magnetic moment of the coil and B is the magnetic induction of the coil. Okay? Already we know that the magnetic moment of the coil M is equal to NIA, which is equal to NI pi r square. Here for the first coil and the second coil, number of the turns is same, current is also same, so that the dipole moment is directly proportional to the square of the radius of the coil. From this we can write M1 by M2 is equal to R1 by R2 whole square. In this problem it is given that the dipole moment is doubled, that's why this M2 is equal to M1. By substituting M2 is equal to 2M1, we have M1 by 2M1 is equal to R1 by R2 whole square. Okay? From this, we can write R1 by R2 is equal to 1 by root 2. Right? Let it be the equation number 1. Now already we know that in case of the circular coil, the magnetic induction at the center of the coil is given by B center is equal to mu naught Ni divided by 2R. Here N is the number of the turns, I is the current passing through the coil, and R is the radius of the coil. So here I is constant, N is constant, so that we can write it as BC is inversely proportional to the radius of the coil. From this we can write the ratio of the magnetic inductions at the center of the first coil to the second coil is B1 by B2 is equal to R2 by R1. B1 by B2 is equal to R2 by R1. Here already from equation number 1 we have R1 by R2 is equal to 1 by root 2. By substituting that value here we have B1 by B2 is equal to root 2. Okay? Find the magnetic dipole moment of a spiral coil of inner radius A and outer radius B carrying a current I. Let the total number of the turns is equal to N. Okay? Now here we have a coil in the spiral shape. For this spiral shape coil, we want to determine the magnetic dipole moment. Already we derived the equation for the dipole moment of a circular coil of radius R. Whereas in this spiral shape, different turns are having different radii. That's why by using the normal method, we cannot determine the dipole moment of the spiral coil. In this case, I am going to adopt the concept of the integration to determine the dipole moment of the given spiral shape coil. For that, here what is the length of the spiral shape coil? The outer radius is equal to B, the inner radius is equal to A. That's why the length of the spiral shape is equal to B minus A. Now, in this B minus A length, there are n number of the turns. Then what are the number of turns? Number of turns per unit length. The number of the turns per unit length is equal to total number of the turns divided by total length of the spiral shape, that is n by B minus A. Now let us consider a circular coil of small thickness dr. Now let us assume that in that small thickness dr there are dn number of the turns, and let us assume that for this let r is the radius. Let r is the radius of the coil and dr is the thickness of the coil, and that coil contains small number of the turns dn. First of all, for that coil I am going to determine the dipole moment value. After that, by using the concept of the integration, I am going to calculate the dipole moment of the entire spiral shaped coil. Okay? Now here what is this dn value? How many number of the turns are there in the smaller thickness? Already we know the number of the turns per unit length, that is equal to n by B minus A. And here the thickness of the assumed coil is dr. That's why in that small thickness the small number of the turns is given by the number of the turns in the dr thickness. is given by dn is equal to n by b minus a into dr. Let it be equation number 2. And what is the radius of this assumed coil? The radius of that assumed coil is equal to r. Now here I is the current passing through the coil. Now we know the number of the turns, the radius and the current passing through the coil. Can we determine the dipole moment of the assumed coil? The dipole moment of the assumed coil is dm is equal to dn ia. Already we obtained the dn value, that is equal to n by b minus a into dr I. And what is the area of the assumed coil? The area of this assumed coil is equal to pi r square. Why? Because r is the radius of the assumed coil. Now we have the dipole moment of the coil of small thickness assumed by us. Now the dipole moment of the spiral shape is given by m is equal to integral dm. Here what are the limits of the integration? For the innermost coil the radius is equal to a, and for the outermost turn the radius is equal to b. That's why we have to take a and b as the limits of the integration. Now substitute this dm value in this equation, it becomes integral a to b n by b minus a into dr I pi r square. So which is equal to, here n is constant, b minus a, I pi are constants. By taking them outside the integration we have n by b minus a I pi into integral r square dr. Now it becomes n I pi divided by b minus a into, we know that integral r square dr is equal to r cube by 3 between the limits a to b. Now by substituting the limits we have m is equal to n I pi divided by 3 into b minus a into b cube minus a cube. Okay, this b cube minus a cube can be written as b minus a into a square plus ab plus b square. So after that b minus a get cancelled, and finally we have n I pi divided by 3 into a square plus ab plus b square. Like this we have to determine the total dipole moment of the spiral shaped coil using the concept of the integration, right? This kind of the problems are generally given in the all India level exams like mains examinations. An insulating thin rod of length L has a linear charge density rho x is equal to rho naught x by L on it. The rod is rotated about an axis passing through the origin x is equal to 0 and perpendicular to the rod. If the rod makes n rotations per second, then the time averaged magnetic moment of the rod is dash. Here it is given that we have a rod of length L and this rod is carrying a charge on it. The linear charge density is given as rho is equal to rho naught x by L, which is a function of x. Now It is rotating with a frequency n is equal to 1 rotation per second. Now, for this rotating rod, we want to determine the magnetic dipole moment. Already in the previous problems, I explained the way of calculation of the dipole moment for the rotating charge, whereas here the problem involves the rotation of the rod carrying the charge. In this case, first of all, I am going to assume a small element of thickness dx. Let the element is at a distance of x from the origin or one end of the rod. Now, I am going to determine the dipole moment of this element. After that, I am going to determine the dipole moment of the entire rod by using the concept of the integration. For that, suppose dq is the charge present on the small element. That charge on the small element is given by dq is equal to the length of the element into the linear charge density, that is rho dx. Let it be equation number 2. Now, this element is carrying some charge and this element is rotating in the circular path. That rotating charge constitutes some current, and the current equivalent of the charge is given by di is equal to dq divided by t. This is equal to n into dq. Why? Because here, instead of giving the time period, the frequency of the rotation is given. That's why I write it in the form of the frequency. Di is equal to n dq. Let it be equation number 3. Now, we know the small amount of the current constituting by the small element assumed by us. Now, due to this element, the dipole moment is given by dm is equal to IA. Here I is the current equivalent and A is the area of the circle formed by the charge. This is equal to n dq into pi x square. N dq into pi x square. This is the dipole moment of the small element assumed by us. Then can we determine the total dipole moment of the entire rod? That is given by m is equal to integral dm. Here, what are the limits of the integration? If the rod divides into the so many elements like this, the distance of the first element is equal to 0, whereas the distance of the last element is equal to the length of the rod. That's why the limits of the integration are from 0 to L. Now, substitute this dm value and make the mathematical simplifications. We get the dipole moment of the entire rod. This is equal to integral 0 to L. What is dm? Dm is equal to n dq pi x square. N dq pi x square. What is dq? dq is equal to rho dx. By substituting, it becomes integral 0 to L n rho dx pi x square. N rho dx pi x square. This is m is equal to integral 0 to L n rho dx pi x square. This rho is given as rho naught x by L. By substituting that, we have integral 0 to L n rho naught x by L dx pi x square. In this equation, n is constant, rho naught is constant, L is constant, pi is constant. Take them outside the integration, it becomes n rho naught pi by L into integral 0 to L x cube dx. This is equal to n rho naught pi divided by L into integral x cube dx is equal to x to the power of 4 by 4 between the limits 0 to L. By substituting the limits, we have m is equal to n rho naught pi by L into L to the power of 4. So LL cancelled and we have m is equal to n rho naught pi divided by 4 into L cube. Here we have 4. So the dipole moment m is equal to n rho naught pi L cube divided by 4. Like this, using the concept of the integration for the spiral shaped coils or for the rods on which the charge is uniformly distributed, we have to determine the dipole moment using the concept of the integration. Okay? I think you understanding about the concepts what I have teach in this class. We will meet again in the next session. Thank you one and all.